Welcome to the latest Motley Fool Scoreboard. I'm on in Chocolate Blue. We've got longtime fools Tyler Crowe and Jon Quast giving a 1 to 10 rating to a top 100 stock in the Moneyball database. It's Palo Alto Networks, ticker symbol PANW. Talk about the strength of Palo Alto's business first, including factors like industry and competition. 10's invincible, a 1 is hopeless. Tyler's at a 7. Jon, you're at an 8.
Yeah, I'm at an 8 here. Look, cybersecurity is an absolutely huge, massive market, and Palo Alto Networks really has one of the most comprehensive product offerings that there is, addressing both hardware, software. It really wants to be the everything of cybersecurity, and it's done this primarily through acquisitions over the years. But, you know, IDC, it does say that it is continuing to take market share even at its large size. And so I think it's going to be really hard to dethrone Palo Alto Networks from the place that it has. I would go even higher here, except I don't think any cybersecurity company can get a 10 invincible because all cybersecurity companies are just one mistake away. So I rated it an 8.
I went with a 7 with a lot of the similar sentiment to what Jon said, but I cannot get over the fact of how fiercely competitive this industry is. Even it is big, it's growing, but the players in it are always trying to take market share from each other. And the other thing is it moves so fast for any company to be considered irreplaceable in this industry. You know, I sound like Abe Simpson, the cranky old grandpa, when I say I remember when like Norton and McAfee were at the forefront of cybersecurity, but that was like 15 years ago. And now I'll give you $20 if you can tell me the parent company that owns both Norton and McAfee today.
I should know this. I do not.
Gen Digital.
Oh, yeah, no way. Your $20 is safe. We'll move on to management. A 10 is Warren Buffett. A 1 is Homer Simpson. Tyler's at an 8. Jon, you're at a 7.
I'm at a 7. CEO Nikesh Arora, he came in 2018. It was pretty apparent from the get-go that he was going to pursue a growth by acquisition strategy. That can be a risky thing to go after, and yet it has pulled it off very, very well. Revenue up over 300% during his tenure, stock price up over 500%. The management team here routinely beats its guidance, raises guidance, and so it has a really good handle on the business. I would have ranked it higher if it had delivered more organic growth. A lot of the growth is coming from the acquisitions. So overall, very good, but I wish I did see some more organic growth.
I went with an 8, and I know I tend to be obnoxious about on Scorecard here with my fixation on executive pay, but I want to give an example of how it works. This was a company for a long time that was producing net income losses and was unprofitable for a while. And then in fiscal year 2025, ended in October 24, the board made a change to its comp structure where it made earnings per share a significant component of executive pay, basically like show us you can produce net income. And lo and behold, its net income margin doubled within 12 months and it's posted record earning per share. I'll say it again, you get what you pay for. And this is a good example of how that works.
I have to admit, when you said Norton and McAfee owned by the same, they're actually not owned by the same. Norton was right, but McAfee's owned by a separate, a private investing group. Just so people aren't like, whoa, Norton and McAfee are owned. If I'm wrong on this, we'll fix it in the outro. For financials, a 10 is a fortress, a 1 is yikes. Tyler's at a 7. Jon, you're at an 8.
Palo Alto Networks is a top dog in this industry, and the top dog has a fortress for sure. So debt is down around 90% in the last few years. Its cash is 7 times what its debt is. Its free cash flow could take care of what little debt remains in just a matter of months. And so this is a very strong balance sheet. Growth is steady, margins are high and also steady. Now there is $4.6 billion in goodwill on the balance sheet. That's high, but not terrible considering all the acquisitions it has made in recent years. The one thing that could have made it higher for me here is in my score, only $2.9 billion in cash versus a $140 billion market cap. That's not a whole lot of cash given the size of this business, but I didn't want to knock it too hard. Overall, an 8.
Yeah. I gave it a 7, and I want to give it an incomplete because it does have a $25 billion acquisition of CyberArk that hasn't closed yet. And so it's, financials are going to look very different when that deal is closed. There's a cash component of the deal. And so the balance sheet's going to look very different. And I think financially, the, income statement, cash flow are going to look very, very different at the end of this deal. Management doesn't even expect the deal to be accretive to earnings per share until fiscal year 2028. So there is a lot of optimism baked into that deal, and I'd really like to see what happens once they've got this thing sorted out.
All right, Tyler, let's talk valuation. How well will Palo Alto Networks do over the next 5 years, and how safe is it? 10's a sure thing, one's a lottery ticket.
So I went with 5 to 10% with a safety score of 5. I think the growth is good, and I think the board's emphasis on earnings per share growth will do good things for the business over the long term. But the valuation right now, 53 times next year's earnings, isn't really commensurate with its current growth rates. And there's always the possibility that this CyberArk acquisition could go sideways. And if that's the case, you can see write-downs, and nobody likes to see that.
Yeah, I'm a 7 here. I think that when you have such a strong business like Palo Alto Networks is, I think you have a good chance of making some money. And so I'm at a 7 here. I don't think that you're going to lose much money investing in this stock today over the next 5 years. That said, I'm at a 10% to 15% possible annual return. That would potentially underperform the market. It just kind of depends. As much as I do love this business and everything about it, I agree with Tyler here. The valuation is high, and that could certainly eat into future returns.
Thank you both, John, and to Tyler. They've given Palo Alto Networks an overall score of 7.0 out of 10. As to top it, John continues to like CrowdStrike. Look out for a new scoreboard every market day at 7 p.m. Eastern. Next up is cloud platform NICE. Till then, Fool on.